It feels like coming back home as usual. Very much. Very, very happy to be back again. Feels like I never left. It began very early. So the only thing I can think of is there was great joy in singing, singing anything and everything. Like how we all begin relationships with any of these forms and elements, it's like it felt like home, and it felt like the only uh, expression where you find freedom. So, as a child, as a young woman, as a teenager, and till even now, I think it's just the act of singing, which has, I think, had a very, very deep need, for freedom. That I think I can define my relationship with singing is just being free and expressing intimacy in the most free manner, in the most truest manner, I think. Yeah. It's been quite a complex journey, and I'm still in the process. And because singing is it's a very, like I said, it's very freeing. It's it's something that is natural, that comes to human beings. It's like birds, or it's like blowing a shell or an instrument. It's that natural. But when it comes to coming in contact with your voice, it's like suddenly there is a mirror, which I have realized. When you're singing, you can get lost, and you feel the nature and you feel yourself. But when it's voice, it's like you come in contact with this being, the spirit, the person, and it's naked. So I think finding voice is a growing up process. For me, it has taken time, but I have never, I feel that it's a good thing that I never held back, when it came to understanding, exploring voice. I am very thankful to my teachers, as well as, my journey, that I didn't close down and kind of submit to different ways of modifying and, manipulating your voice. So singing freely and continuously being told to sing freely in the Dhrupad genre by my teachers, and just that voice inside which said that, you don't have to really hide anything. That has really helped in this journey of kind of finding my voice. And it's a parallel journey with finding your own self in that sense. So it goes hand in hand. No process is easy, because it's you're climbing, and climbing is in that sense not easy, but it's what it is. When you're climbing, there is an effort. When you are going down the hill, it's easier. So, but I think when you say submitting, I think what has happened, as I understand, is that especially in context with classical ecosystem, classical arts and its ecosystem, is that it was meant, it was defined as surrendering. And gradually, because of the socio-cultural, complexities, it has come into the whole act of submission. And the two are, I think, quite contradictory to each other. When you say surrender, it's a great responsibility with which you are doing, that act of surrendering. And surrendering is quite empowering. You're not really giving your power away when you're surrendering. You're surrendering to your truth, and I think that is what initially, in the culture and the ecosystem, that is what has is demanded. But then we gradually have kind of come to submit ourselves, where it is like you're letting the kind of conditioned elements to take over and control. And whenever there is control, freedom doesn't have space. So I think it's not submission, it's surrendering. And I think when you surrender, there's great freedom, because you find there's so much space. And if I come to, if you look at the technical space here, in example of Dhrupad, it's a discipline. But when you are kind of entering into a discipline, there is great immense freedom in it. So it's surrendering to that freedom, and it is surrendering to the truth that is being revealed there. And when you are uncovering something, when you are kind of revealing something, when you are facing the truth, when you have a mirror in front of you, you have to surrender. So that's what I think I've understood so far, that it's not submitting but surrendering. Just be vulnerable, you know. It used to be scary before, as one was younger and trying to really understand oneself and the whole ecosystem around, the society around, who's your own, who's not, and who are you? Are you? How do you define yourself? Are you a student, just a woman, or an intellectual being, or a singer, or so that process, I think what I've realized, that be more and more and more vulnerable, be more and more naked. And the more you do that, the more you can, I think it has a quality of spread. The more vulnerable you are, you can spread that to your surroundings. And I think that's what I've learned from my master, from so many masters around, and women around, from women of all classes and creeds, and artists and musicians from all stratas of society. So I think vulnerability is what is demanded, which is, I think, it says it all. It has everything in it. It has freedom in it, it has love in it, it has trust in it, and it has this great sense of oneness. I think um, I have learned to strike a balance so far, and I'm still learning. So that means what I've learned is not to be imbalanced when it comes to, whether it is audience or whether it is an expression that you're trying to convey. I think um, honesty, and being honesty is a very tricky thing, because honesty also can take you to a very diplomatic place, where you can say that, okay, I'm being honest, but actually you are just being in good books, and you think that you're being honest. So I don't know if I'm making sense, but what I've learned is, again, to be vulnerable. What I've learned is that we're all one. And, and art and music is something which is again and again trying to bring that truth back. It's again and again trying to uh, bring us back to the center. So I have learned to internalize more and more, and learn to surrender more and more, and learn to love, myself more and more. And when you say yourself, it's your inner being. It's when I say myself, it is the truth around. So then you learn to love others also, whether it's unknown strangers, where you are singing or students, or you just learn to love every human being. So I've learned to love, I think, through this journey. I constantly want to challenge myself, and seek discomfort, which we tend to kind of run away from, especially in this ecosystem of classical music, because we are so secure and we are so celebrated, that you forget to question the larger picture. And so I think I've learned to question. And what were you asking? That challenge myself, yeah. So constantly challenge myself. Also dissolve the conditioning around a particular form, you know. And because, and I am so fortunate that I have, as a vehicle, I have Dhrupad as, as my medium, which is the best example of how, a form is so volatile. It's fluctuating and it's growing constantly and it's alive. So then why do we have to put it in a box? So that, so at this point of time, I'm at a point where it's all about frequencies, and so you question, and at the same time you also realize that, okay, these are just different mediums and vehicles. So let me not put boxes to a particular form, call it classical, call it folk, call it pure, call it lower art, and call it from the village, and call it from the courts, and this era, and Vedic era, and Muslim era. And yes, history has always been a great major part in growing of a culture and growing of an art form. But let's not box it, because if you look at it, it's all about frequencies. It's sound that we are dealing with. So yeah, I keep questioning, and I keep challenging. And as well, in terms of techniques now, it's good to learn different techniques and understand different techniques, whether it's Carnatic or whether it's opera or whether it is Western classical, or folk traditions from different parts of the country. So just keep challenging your techniques, your body, your, of course, your ideas and your perspective about it. So yeah, keep it constantly in a flux, and not be comfortable. I think that's very important, I've realized. Yeah, in a good way. Yeah, so Baithak, when you say the word Baithak, if I visualize it, then what comes to my mind is a circle, you know. Whereas when you say a performance or a show, it's more square, because it's like there is a divide. There is the performance, and then there is the audience, and then there is that divide. Of course, there is an exchange. There is, in Baithak, there is a center, you know, and we all are sort of moving around that center. And that's where I think the difference lies, when there's Baithak and when there's performance. So, and also there is no artist there when there's Baithak. It's like a festival. It's like a coming together. So the celebration, or the dialogue, or the exchange is at the center. And I think that's what we are trying to bring about wherever we can. So I think I would like to be in a Baithak mode as much as possible, whether it's between the two of us, this is Baithak, what's happening. And it's with a larger group also. It's like sitting together, sitting down together, and enjoying something or perceiving something together. And so yeah, so that's what I hope and attempt to do today, and see how we can stimulate the energies around, and learn how I can learn from the response, and just really say what I want to say with all my might and all the vulnerability that I can sort of retain, content. It's quite freeing, yeah. It's quite freeing. It's also, it's like also practicing, no, at home. You do it without the mics, and it's you know your actual timbre, so you're really able to be in your own timbre, your own voice, without any moderations, and without any help. The mics can be quite comforting also. So again, it's freeing, at the same time it's challenging, and I would love to I would love to see how it comes together. Yeah, I think artists today, be it classical or from any other genres, I think we need to um, be supported to just be ourselves, you know and it's a process. So first of all, that, and not because you otherwise you get into this role play, and I think that's very toxic for a human being who's trying to reveal the truth by their medium, whether it's music or dance or theater or whatever it is. So I think uh, including in being in, including an artist into a normal ecosystem, just to be, and whether it's in performance, that's I think the greatest thing, if there is an ecosystem which allows an artist to just be herself, and not be a performer, and not have a sort of a veil, or sort of having this very beautiful, decorative sort of if there is beauty, the beauty is going to reveal. If there is darkness, darkness is going to reveal. So just be yourself, and so that and also conversations where young artists are sort of uh, mm, encouraged to go that path more and more, rather than onto this whole ambition of being a certain way and separating yourself from the rest of the you know surroundings. So spaces, I think, first of all, that, and then just, yeah, I think by by creating such, by curating different different ways of coming together, you also help them sustain themselves, which is very important in today's time. We are very few lucky ones who are somehow doing well to support oneself, but there are so many artists who are not not really able to be out there and do their work. And so, yeah, both these things. Yeah, I mean, basically the movement is all the time internalizing. First, go within. You want to wear a t-shirt, wear a t-shirt. You want to wear a sari, wear a sari. Because ultimately, these are external, these are outfits, and we need to really address the things the way they are. And then at the same time, look at the history of how things came into being, what were performances all about, why do you perform to entertain, whom are you entertaining, why do they want to be entertained, where do they come from, where do you come from, what is entertaining, what is entertainment, or are you expressing yourself, or are you just being naked, you know, or both. You can be entertaining and you can be naked at the same time. So these are the things, that needs to be really revealed out there in open. I know. I think I'm just looking forward to just sit there together and see, and yeah, and just it's going to bring back memories of the Baithaks that I have been and I have sang, and yeah, of my teachers and my home at my teacher's place. So yeah, just hoping to just be at home and see and learn.